Tokyo, Japan is empty. Once filled with millions of people, suddenly there are only a few hundred. Those left must survive by playing dangerous games that play with hearts, mess with minds, test strength, and force teamwork. Clear the game, and you win a few more days of life. Fail a game, and you die. Our Alice, Arisu, has found himself down this dark and dangerous rabbit hole, and now must fight and play and win to find the way back out. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. My name is Riley Liss, and welcome to my telling of the show Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland is originally based off of a manga, but I haven't read the manga myself, so I can make no comment as to how it compares. I can say this, though. I love the show. I watch it in the original Japanese, but I do understand that not everyone can handle subtitles. I couldn't always. And some people can't stand language dubbing. My mom cannot. For those who can do either, I do recommend watching the show. I'll do my best to tell the story, but in the end, nothing compares to the original. And for those of you who would rather avoid subtitles and dubs, though, and for those of you who just want to listen to me tell the story anyway, let's begin. Gunshots sound and lights flash as a young man mashes the buttons on his controller. Hunched in his gaming chair, staring intensely at the screen, determined to win his game. Surrounding him is his bedroom. A bed, a desk, a dresser, and a bookshelf populated by advanced geometry books and a car magazine. Behind him, a younger man comments, "What a shitty brother." The distraction costs Arisu his life. He swears and drops his head onto his hand, and his monitor turns red. Black text declaring, "You are dead." The younger man, Arisu's little brother, leans against Arisu's desk and asks, rhetorically, "You skipped your interview again?" He scolds his older brother for playing video games instead of taking advantage of the favor his younger brother did for him by begging his own work to at least give his slacker older brother a chance to get a job. Arisu points out that he never asked for the help, more exasperated than bothered by the scolding. He's clearly had these sorts of conversations with his family before. His little brother even says that their dad won't even try to help Arisu get a job anymore, calling him a parasite. Not in the mood for this conversation, Arisu simply says he'll leave then, and stands up to do just that. On his way out the bedroom door, his little brother takes one final shot, saying that things were better when their mom was still alive. Arisu looks back, not at his brother, at a photograph on the desk. A young boy and a woman. Young Arisu and their mom when she was still alive. Downstairs, on his way out of the house, Arisu's father warns him not to get in his brother's way. Arisu pauses again and looks back at his father for a moment, but then just silently leaves the house. As Arisu walks down the street, he sends a text in a group chat with his two friends, Karube and Chota. The text is directed at Karube, though, asking if he can go to the bar Karube works at. He also adds that he's homeless now. Karube doesn't see either of these texts right away, though, too busy at the bar, making out. The kissing comes to an abrupt end, though, when their boss walks in, and Karube and his girl spring apart before the boss can see what they're doing. He observes that Karube is here early today, and the woman wonders why the boss is here at this time of day. As he takes off his watch, the boss just casually says he had some business to take care of, before turning and swinging his fist at Karube's face, surprising Karube and the girl, and landing the blow. Arisu continues to text at Karube, waiting for answers, but back at the bar, Karube is on the ground getting punched repeatedly by his boss, who's yelling at him at the same time for hooking up with his woman. The woman yells at him to stop and dives onto the boss from behind, grabbing his arm and trying to pull him back. He's able to shake her, but the momentary relief gives Karube time to get to his feet. When the boss turns back to Karube, swinging from another blow, Karube's ready this time. He catches his boss's wrist and swings a punch of his own, enough force behind his fist to knock his boss to the floor and put an instant end to the fight. Blood under his nose, he lets out a breath and says, "I feel better now." Out on the street, Arisu gives up on getting a response from Karube and focuses on Chota instead, asking if he's working and wanting to stay over. Chota, however, is also too busy to respond. In a bank, he tucks his wallet into his back pocket, gathers up the money he just withdrew, and exits the bank to give the money to his mom, wanting it to be the last time. She's determined to purify Tokyo, though, and she needs Chota's money to do that. Realizing he's getting nowhere with that conversation, Chota leaves. Separately, all friends are now on the streets, texting each other as they walk. Karube lost his job. Chota doesn't seem too surprised, replying only, "Good job, I'm skipping my work now." As they walk, the three text back and forth, mocking each other for their lack of work ethic and agreeing to meet in front of Shibuya Station. Arisu reaches the meeting point first, and the three of them continue to text while he waits for the other two. The conversation now turns to what a bad day they're each having. Arisu continues to text even after Karube and Chota arrive, working on a very long "hey" text that he doesn't even finish before Karube tells him to just talk, and the three of them laugh. For a few minutes, the three of them linger in front of Shibuya Station, trying to decide where to hang out. Chota says it would be bad if zombies appeared in such a densely populated area. Arisu says if that ever happened, Karube would be the only one of them to survive. But Karube thinks that Arisu would be the survivor. It's clear his friend has far more faith in Arisu than Arisu has in himself. For a minute, all three of them are quiet, their thoughts turned in on themselves, as they watch hundreds of people walking by. Eventually, Karube decides they're done being serious. He puts out a cigarette, ducks down, and scoops Arisu up onto his shoulders, calling out, "It's your Independence Day!" He trots into the middle of the crosswalk with Arisu on his shoulders, Chota chasing them with his phone raised to capture the moment. The three of them spin together, shouting into the air and laughing. Cars honk suddenly, and all three are brought back down to the ground. The crosswalks are empty now, cars driving through the intersection, honking at them for still being in the middle of it all. Karube quickly drops to lower Arisu back to his feet, and the three take off running off the street, dodging cars as they go. Chota glances back and up at the sky and notices fireworks in the distance. He points them out, but Arisu and Karube don't hear him, and all three are still running anyway. Police are drawn out by the commotion, so the three hurry into the train station, quickly swiping their passes, and run to hide in the bathroom, all three cramming into the same stall. For a few minutes, all three wait quietly in the stall, still laughing silently from the thrill of their little adventure. Someone pounds on the bathroom stall door, but they stay silent. And then all the lights go out. Their phones stop working. Suddenly, it's silent outside their stall door. Arisu carefully opens the door to peek out, but all the people that were in the bathroom when they came running in are gone now. It's dark and quiet and empty. Cautiously, they move from the bathroom and through the station, back out onto the street. All the lights are out, but the sky is still a bright day, so they can see very easily, very clearly, that everyone is gone. Shibuya Station, the street outside it, and the buildings around them are all empty. The only noise left in the world is their footsteps and the rustle of the leaves and loose papers in the breeze. The three split up to search for people. Karube goes back to the bar, but no one's there. A cigarette sits at the edge of an ashtray, burned down nearly to the butt and still smoking. Chota goes to his office building, but all the desks are empty. From there he can see over miles of the city, see how vast the emptiness is. That everyone is, truly, gone. Arisu wanders the streets, checking intersections and bridges, but all the cars are empty and still. He calls out, but no one answers. The three meet back up at this intersection across from Shibuya Station and confirm with each other. They are the only ones left. They look at their phones, but none of them are working. The screen's black. So they sit there, at the intersection, for hours, throughout the rest of the day and into the night, and wonder what happened. An evacuation, maybe, Arisu guesses. An event, Chota wonders, like a flash mob. but Karube points out that it's too big for that. In the end, none of them can figure out what happened. This isn't so bad, Arisu finally says. It's kind of exciting. Karube wonders if Arisu's lost his mind, but Chota thinks Arisu might have a point. After all, this means Chota won't have to go to work tomorrow. This means that all the people who are angry and disappointed in them are all gone. For a few minutes, the three of them are able to relax and laugh and stop worrying and wondering. For a few minutes. The first lights of the night come on. A giant screen overlooking the massive intersection lights up all white. Arisu, Karube, and Chota all stop messing around and look up. Black text appears on the white. Welcome, players. The game will commence in a moment. The three of them just stare up at the screen for a moment, wondering what game it's talking about. The original text on the big white screen disappears. A new text appears. This way to the game arena. An arrow below the text points the way. They look in that direction and see a red light in the distance. Let's go, Karube says, and the three start running towards it. The red light is coming from the GM building, the only building they've seen since everyone disappeared with electricity. A screen just inside the building informs them that the game arena is ahead, and on a small circular screen ahead of them, an arrow points to the right. They're directed to a hallway, at the end of which is an elevator and a window. As they approach, they cross near invisible blue laser lines that turn red briefly as each of them cross it. Cell phones are lined up on the windowsill, and just below them is a sign stating 1 per person. They each pick up a phone, and a message pops up on the phones. Face recognition in progress. After a few seconds, the phone unlocks. The background is a pattern like on the back of a playing card. Karube wonders if they can use the phones, but Arisu notices that the phones have no signal, and Chota notices that there is no phone app. They can't be used to make calls. At the bottom of the screen are 4 icons: a gallery, a clock, settings, and a camera. At the top are 2 more icons that look like playing cards: Game and Visa. The phone screens turn white with black text. Please wait for the game to commence, a robotic voice reads out. 2 minutes until registration closes. There are currently 3 participants. There's a timer under the text counting down those 2 minutes. What is this? Arisu wonders. A game, a voice down the hall answers. Chota and Arisu look up from their phones. Karube turns. At the end of the hall, where they came from, is a woman. There's a human, Chota says. You know where everyone went? Karube asks her. She doesn't answer. She walks down the hall, crosses the laser gate, and walks right up to Chota. She sticks her hand in his left breast pocket and takes the ID badge in there, pulling the lanyard that it hangs from up over his head, and tosses it back down the hallway. As soon as the ID badge flies through the laser barrier, another laser, larger and much more visible, shoots down from above. The ID badge lands on the floor, a small hole now burned through Chota's picture on it, still smoking. The boys stare in shock, and the woman tells them, once you cross the borderline, you can never return. You have no choice but to participate in the game. She turns to get a phone herself, and Arisu steps forward to examine the badge, the lasers, and the hole in the ceiling closer, only just stopping before crossing the borderline. Another girl appears at the end of the hallway. She's younger than the other 4, high school age and wearing a school uniform, and is relieved to find people. The boys try to stop her from crossing the borderline, but she doesn't seem to notice, too relieved to not be alone. It doesn't register her that they're trying to tell her to stop until it's too late. The woman hands the girl a phone. The phones chime and the screens light up white. A robotic voice reads the text that appears on the white screens. Registration has closed. The game will now commence. The timer below the text has run out. Game. Dead or alive, the phone tells them. Difficulty. 3 of clubs. The rules of the game are simple. Select the correct door within the time limit. To clear the game, the players have to leave the building before the time runs out. The elevator dings and the door is open. Inside is a simple white sign with black text. Start. The woman has clearly played a few games already. She walks toward the elevator, resolute. At its doors, she stops and looks back at the other four, the boys and the high school girl, and tells them that they'll die if they don't start paying attention. She enters the elevator, the girl quickly following. The boys look at each other, then follow the girls. The doors close, and the elevator carries them up. When the elevator doors open again, the phones go off. White screen, black text, and that robotic voice. Time limit for this room, 2 minutes. Aside from the elevator, there are 2 doors in the room. Live or die. Chota turns his phone sideways and starts recording, saying, "This is starting to get exciting." The high school girl is scared, but he reassures her that she's with them, so she'll be fine. For a minute, the 5 debate. The woman thinks the answer is obvious. Open the live door. At the 30-second remaining mark, smoke starts filling the room. They start arguing about which door to take. The high school girl panics and rushes through the live door, but she dies. Seeing this, the woman rushes through the die door, Karube and Arisu just behind her. Chota hasn't moved though, shocked by the younger girl's death and still staring at her fallen body. Arisu doubles back quickly to grab him and pull him through the die door, Karube slamming the door shut behind them as flames explode to life in the room they only just managed to exit in time. Time limit for this room, 1 minute and 50 seconds. Finally, the boys are starting to process what's really happening. Arisu turns on the woman, saying she's responsible for that girl dying. The woman counters, stubbornly pointing out that they're alive because she persuaded that girl to open the live door. Karube seems tempted to hit the woman in revenge, but she points out that if they keep wasting time, they'll die too, so Karube refrains. He does think that she should be the one to open the next door, though. Since she was willing to risk someone else's life, she should now risk her own. 1 minute left. At this rate, no one's going to open a door, Arisu observes. The woman turns on him, telling him to open a door then, accusing him of being just as bad as her, saying he wants someone besides himself to open a door too. Smoke starts to fill the room. Arisu agrees to open the next door. Karube tries to stop him, but Arisu seems determined. Once at the die door, though, Arisu hesitates, fear overcoming him and stopping him. Karube approaches the live door. Arisu yells at him not to do it, but he only hesitates long enough to take a deep breath before opening the live door and throwing himself through it. The clock is counting down the last 5 seconds. Chota, Arisu, and the woman race after Karube and into the new room, again making it just before the flames ignite. Time limit for this room, 1 minute and 40 seconds. Chota's cracking, crying and saying he can't do this anymore. "We'll take turns," Karube decides, looking at the woman. "You go next." Something in Karube's eyes scare her now. She doesn't try to argue or stand stubbornly this time. As Karube approaches her, she backs up against the wall and shakes her head meekly. He has no pity for her, though. He grabs her wrist and tosses her into the live door, her back thudding against it, and demands that she open it. She still refuses, though. Frustrated and disgusted with her, realizing he's getting nowhere and they have no time, Karube turns to Arisu. Arisu's the gamer. He always says there's a solution to every game. Arisu protests, saying that this isn't a game, but Karube persists, reminding Arisu that he can always find the answer to a puzzle, always figure out the solution, how to win any game he plays. 1 minute left. Karube kneels down in front of where Arisu's sitting. "Think, Arisu, there might have been a hint somewhere," he persists. He starts from the beginning, starting to walk Arisu through every step they've made so far since reaching the GM building. The woman yells at him to stop, but he ignores her. Arisu says he can't do it, but Karube tells him not to give up. "We can't reset." Arisu tries to get away from Karube, saying it's impossible, but the room's too small and Karube's too determined to live. He pursues, reminding Arisu that while he worked his ass off, all Arisu ever did was play games. Arisu takes this as an insult and throws right back at Karube that all he knows how to do is hit people. So Karube hits Arisu. The punch snaps everything back into focus, for Chota and Arisu both. Chota breaks out of his own panic and despair and rushes at Karube to stop him from hitting Arisu anymore, but Karube doesn't want to anyway. Now on the floor, a realization is suddenly snapped loose in Arisu's mind, a memory of them approaching the building, of the car they walked around as they did. 30 seconds remaining. It was a BMW 523D. There's a second or two of silence, and Arisu's brain's working, fast. Suddenly he says, "Die." "How do you know?" the woman questions. 10 seconds remaining. There's no time to explain, so Arisu just rushes to the door, saying he'll open it himself. Karube questions him, asking him if he's sure. Arisu pauses at the door to say a quick prayer, a whispered "please," and then rushes through the door. And lives. Chota, Karube, and the woman rush after him, again making it through the door just as flames shoot out of the floor. The time limit for this room is 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now Arisu has enough time to explain. Quickly. The BMW outside the building is 4 meters and 94 centimeters long. The length of the building is 4 times that of the car, meaning the building is approximately 20 meters long. Arisu's feet are 28 centimeters long. He takes a few heel-to-toe steps to measure one of the room's floor tiles, then multiplies that number by the number of tiles across the room, measuring it to be about 6 meters long. On the way in, they passed an evacuation map that showed that the elevator is at the corner of the building, and the shape of the building is square. All of the rooms they've gone through during the game are also squares, of equal size. 1 minute remaining. Arisu needs something to write on. The woman pulls a pen out of her purse, and Chota produces the receipt he got from the bank earlier. Arisu draws a diagram on the back of the receipt, 1 square divided into 9 smaller squares. Now it hits Chota. It's a puzzle game. Karube is relieved. It's Arisu's forte. Arisu quickly maps out the route they've taken so far, including marking the room the high school girl died in as dangerous. They go through the right door with a second to spare, and now thanks to Arisu's map, they can go through the next room quickly, and then the next one. But the last room is different. There's no door where there should be a door. Arisu has to stop and think. He must have missed something. Suddenly he turns to Chota, wanting to see the video he took in the first room. With the video he confirms there was no door where there should have been a door in the room that killed the high school girl. Arisu realizes there's not just 9 rooms, there are 10. 2 rooms made smaller than the rest. Seconds counting down, they rush through the door. Chota's almost too late and gets blasted from behind by the flames as he crosses the threshold. Karube puts out the fire quickly, but Chota's leg is left severely burned. The last room is small, only a hallway with the door they came through on the side, a live door at one end, and a die door on the other. Time limit for this room is 10 seconds. The woman rushes to the live door, an exit sign hanging above it, but Arisu yells at her that it's the wrong door, and he opens the die door. Karube hauls Chota up and supports him as the 3 of them race after Arisu, escaping the room just before it bursts into flames. They don't stop fleeing until they've gone down the fire escape stairs and have hit sidewalk. The phones chime. White screen and text and a robotic voice. Game cleared. Congratulations. Now they all stop and sit and catch their breath. The woman thanks the boys for solving the game. Chota thinks this must be retribution. In the alley they're collapsed in, among the garbage and forgotten junk, stands a small white round table, standing out brightly. The woman notices it first. She stands up and approaches it. On the table sits a single 3 of clubs playing card. The boys get up and trail behind her, Karube supporting Chota's weight. And the 4 of them just stare at the card for a few seconds. The phones go off again, but it's a different sound now. Instead of the chime, it sounds more like a song. On the white screen, 3 black clubs appear one by one. Text appears below them, and the robotic voice tells them that the survivors of the game will now receive a 3-day visa. One by one, the clubs turn from solid to outlines. Arisu looks at the woman for an explanation, but before anyone can say anything else, they see a man coming down the alley towards them, stumbling, weary and defeated. When he sees them, he stops walking and yells that he's dropping out of the game. He tells them that no matter how many games they clear, there is no end, no escape. His visa ends today. A laser shoots down from the sky, penetrating him through the skull and killing him instantly. The GM building lights go out, plunging them all into darkness again. The four approach the man's body, and it's there that the woman finally tells them, when their visas expire, they'll die too. To keep adding time to their visas, they have to keep playing games. It's midnight. All around the city, visas are expiring. Dozens of red lasers shoot down from the sky to eliminate those with expired visas. A young woman stands on some high rooftop, watching.